Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nanik Lestari Ningsi. I am a student of PPG Calon Guru Gelombang 2 in 2024 from English Class B, Universitas Pakuan. Here, I will convey a campaign for good practice in implementing scaffolding in learning to fulfill the final semester exam or UAS in the Sociocultural Perspective course in education with the lecturer Mrs. Dotranda Ati Herawati MPD. The following is information about the PPL activities that are carried out at SMA Negeri 3 Kota Bogor with the subject of English in the 10th grade students. But before we jump to our discussion, first we need to know the definition of scaffolding itself. So what is scaffolding? Scaffolding is an essential teaching strategy that provides support to students while they develop the necessary skills to perform tasks independently. According to Wood, Brunner, and Rose in 1976, scaffolding refers to the support a teacher or peer provides to help a learner complete a task that they cannot do on their own but can accomplish with assistance. Wood, Brunner, and Rose also explain that scaffolding involves breaking a complex task into smaller, more manageable steps. The teacher will provide support at each stage, but this support is gradually reduced as the student gains competence and confidence, ultimately achieving independence. Additionally, the famous psychologist Lev Vygotsky proposed the concept of the zone of proximal development or ZPD. According to Vygotsky, the ZPD is the space between what a learner can do independently and what they can do with guidance. Scaffolding directly supports this process by providing the appropriate level of assistance within the ZPD, ensuring that students are challenged but not overwhelmed. Scaffolding implementation in teaching. The first stage is initial activities. To help students begin writing their own recount text, I started with prompt question or pertanyaan pemantik, such as, have you ever participated in celebrating Independence Day when you were in SMA Negeri 3 Bogor? Or what event did you participate in? Did you win the competition? By these questions, it will encourage students to recall their experiences and focus on the orientation sections of their own recount text. And as students become more comfortable with the structure of recount text, I will begin to reduce my support, allowing them to take more responsibility for their own writing. And for students who were ready for a higher level of challenge, I encourage them to include more detailed description in the event sections, using descriptive language and adding emotions and dialogues. Teacher conducts a pretest to assess students' initial abilities and assist in grouping students. To ensure that every student receives the right amount of support, I applied the principle of teaching at the right level or TIRL. This approach focuses on meeting students where they are in learning and providing the appropriate level of challenge and support. By applying TIRL, I was able to provide differentiated support. Some students needed more assistance with basic sentence structure, while others were ready to work on refining their writing by adding more details or experimenting with complex sentences. Grouping students in small groups. Before students began writing, I was showing modeling of the recount text for the students as part of the scaffolding process. I presented my own personal recount text about an event that I participated during the Independence Day celebration when I was in senior high school. As I wrote, I explained how the structure of recount text start from the orientation, the sequence of events, and the reorientation. After I provided modeling of the text, I divided the students into small groups. Each group was given 6 images related to the Independence Day celebration. The task for each member of the group to develop a sentence based on the image that they received, following the recount text structure. So each student in the group will work on writing 1 sentence related to their image. For example, one student may have received an image of a flag ceremony. Say they would write the orientation about the ceremony. And other student may have received an image of a sport competition, and they would write about the events of the competition. And together, the group will collaborate to create a coherent context from their individual sentences. The last stage, reflection. After using scaffolding in the lesson, I observed significant improvement in my student ability to write personal context. They gained confidence in their writing skills and were able to apply the structure effectively. It can be seen from their post-test. By the end of the lesson, students were able to write coherent and detailed context about their personal experience with Independence Day. The scaffolding process, combined with the contextualization of the theme, helped students connect personally to the material, which enhanced their learning experience. And the last is conclusion. As time goes by, support from teachers is reduced and students are encouraged to take more responsibility for their own learning. This is the essence of scaffolding itself, building independence within the framework of the latest scaffolding guidelines, reinforcement and reflection, emphasizing the evaluation and reflection process where there is space in scaffolding for reviewing the achievement of competencies for each good learning activity, ends with reflection to strengthen student understanding and provide space for self-evaluation for them. So it can be concluded that scaffolding is a teaching method that not only provides students with tools to understand the material, but also builds self-confidence in critical thinking skills. And independence. By utilizing this approach, teachers can help students overcome various learning challenges and reach their full potential. I think that's all. Thank you for watching my video. I hope this practice inspire fellow educators to use scaffolding. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.